Check out the wispy clouds. Beautiful day, hanging out in Fullerton, checking out the Motiv Spark. And I'm gonna hit the specs and stuff on this, just try to get that out of the way, because I'm here with Sam. He's been carrying these bikes since like 2013, and it's interesting because some of the features have changed and evolved, but a lot of it stayed the same. It's a really simple, classic bike. It has a really cool look. Comes in a bunch of different colors, but the colors, in my opinion, they're kind of cooler. It's not just like bright red. It's like sparkly red, or some cool shade of blue, or like dark blue, or in this case, matte black. I think they also have gloss black. So what we're looking at is kind of the high step version of their cruiser bike. Over here, we have the sleek, and that's the step through. So if you're someone who's maybe a little bit shorter, or you're going for like a his and hers or something, you have that option. This one the frame is slightly different. It's a little bit bigger, like 17.5 versus 16.5 on that. Maybe a little bit longer reach, otherwise very similar. We've got a steel rigid fork, pretty nice. It's gonna be a little bit more solid and reduce the weight compared to a suspension fork. And that gives this bike just it's kind of a fluid feel, but it tends to go a little bit faster, especially if you get the 48 volt battery option. It comes with a whole bunch of options, actually. There's 36 volt 11 or 36 16, 48 11, 48 16, and the price varies accordingly. But the base level on this, it's only, I think it's like $17.50. So, it's kind of in that affordable range. And it was one of the first designs to bring the battery from some sort of a rack mounted setup down and forward. Okay, so that's better balance, better handling. It's not going to be flexy and stuff like some of those other bikes. The overall weight of this is about 56 pounds, so it isn't the lightest weight bike, but cruisers tend to weigh more because the tires are bigger and you've got these nice, big, relaxed, upright handlebars. I like the Pro Max stem. See how angular that is? It really brings it up. It's a quill stem, so it comes down in here. You can raise it or lower it, and it really grabs on tight. Sometimes I say, oh, I'm a fan of these adjustable angle stems. They aren't quite as solid as this. They can kind of come loose over time, and if you don't tighten them, it can be bad. So I like that. Frame is aluminum alloy. We've got bosses back here for adding a rack if you want it, bosses for adding fenders. So you can really soup this thing up. Like, it comes kind of just basic, but there's a lot of potential. I think you can even add a suspension fork if you want. We've got a standard quick release up front. It's nice to be able to do some service, take that off in a jiffy if you need to. Battery pack's locking, it's removable. You could charge it on or off the bike. One complaint I have is that you do have to leave the keys in and turned kind of like a car in the ignition in order to ride it. And you can see in this case we have another key on. It's dangling, it can rattle a little bit. So I tend to take my keychains off of it, but at least this isn't anywhere near where your legs are. They'd be out here. They're not going to get snagged. But if you have a rack, you could see how that bolt is the key's like right next to the bolt. So you've got to fit it in such a way that it all gets along. And again, it's very possible to do that. I was looking at one with a rack just a few minutes ago. Wires are wrapped pretty well, organized, internally routed. This is an e-bike specific frame. Definitely appreciate that. You've got a steel paint-matched chain cover. Keeps your pants clean, or your dress, or whatever. And steel is solid, but you don't want to scratch that. You don't want to step on it because it can kind of get bent up. Notice that the rims are also color matched. So that's the style thing that I keep coming back to. I really feel like Motiv does a good job. Even black spokes, 12 gauge, a little bit thicker than normal. Normal is 14, so 14, 13, 12. That's a lot. It's a lot more strength. The motor, 500 watt internally geared hub motor, also black, really nice, matching that battery casing up here. And it's quite powerful, very, very zippy. Again, if you have the 48 volt version, more amps are flowing, and it's zippy. It gets you going. The original bikes had throttle only. This one has pedal assist and throttle, and you can override. So even in 0, you got throttle, full power if you want it. Maybe you're in assist level 1 or 2 to save power, but you need to get up that hill or catch up to your friend. You can easily do that by twisting that. Also, I think the older cadence sensor they had was like the disc plastic with magnets, and it could get bumped a little bit. This new one's really tucked in tight. It's a lot smaller, and I just feel like it still works okay. It's not the most responsive cadence sensor I felt, but you can override it with these Tektro mechanical brake levers with motor inhibitors. Let's try to find that. See, there's like an extra wire right here, and that sends a signal. Anytime you pull it, it just completely shuts off the power to the motor. All I really appreciate that. I also like the bell, kind of integrated there, really tucked in. You get this clean cockpit. The shifters up here, you know, I'm like, they're okay. And again, this doesn't have a ton of gears. It's like 1 through 6 speeds. I think it's 15 tooth on the smallest sprocket up to 32. So, you know, it's okay. 6 speeds with the Shimano Tourney TX. That's the entry-level derailleur. But I'd rather have 6 speeds than a single speed. And that's part of what keeps it cheap and kind of simple. And I suppose it adds, you know, it's not super crowded here, especially because you've got a disc brake on this side. And these are 180 millimeter Tektro Novella. 180 millimeters, that's bigger than average. Normally you have like 160 millimeter or something like that. I think that's an upgrade, right? And if you're a larger rider on a bike like this, we talked about how the stem's not going to be loose and how there's not that extra flex of frame flex or suspension fork. I feel like it works together, and that those brakes would be a really nice upgrade, something to have to keep you safe. So I've gone through most of it. I guess there's the suspension post on the seat right here. This is not the highest end, but it's nice. I saw Sam riding on the way here, and he was kind of getting a little bit of cushion. The saddle, Velo, it's a cruiser style, and it's got the rubber bumpers. That's it, right? We've gone through it now. Maybe it's story time. I can get some feedback from Sam. You know, did anything come to mind when I was talking about this bike, Sam?
Yeah, there's a few things. The first thing I want to talk about is Cameron, the guy that runs the company. He had experience with other companies, and he this was his vision, you know, and he's a passionate guy, and he brought it to the market. And I was selling other cruisers, and when this one came out, I jumped on it. And I was like, you know what? This thing reminds me of my dad's 62 T120 Triumph flat tracker with the, you know, the Chapman frame that was on it. And it just had that wide bar, that SoCal feel to it. And it was cool. And it functioned really well. And the sales just took off. You know, if you believe in something and you get it out there for the customer, it sells really well. And this bike is a winner. It's been our #1 selling cruiser in our store since we started carrying it. We've sold hundreds of them.
Wow.
And if you go out there and you talk to any of the Motiv owners, I'm sure they can tell you why they like their Motivs. For me, it's the simplicity, it's the balance of it, and it's just the ride and look of it too. It's got a certain look to it. Yeah,
the look is what I keep coming back to. I remember the first time I saw this, I was hanging out with Cameron at their headquarters, and we were talking about, oh, Cameron's going to China and he's coming back, and I was at the warehouse, and it's neat. You develop a relationship with these guys. You're local. We're near your shop, Electric Bicycle Center, just down the road. You carry a bunch of different brands, and this has been consistently for, again, like 4+ years.
Our #1 seller.
That's cool.
Yep.
That's very cool to see. We were talking about the suspension fork. We were talking about racks and stuff. You know, can you tell me about some of the rides you've done and how you've accessorized this?
Oh, well, the toe peak rack with the rail on the back, and then you get the hard case bag that has the flip down saddle bags. And we've gone down for 3-day trips to San Diego. And my wife, I mean, you got to bring the hair dryer and all the things that girls carry.
This thing is a hair dryer. What are you talking about?
And you pack all that gear on the back of the bike, and it functions really well down there. We did 95 miles on the holiday weekend of 4th of July for the last 3 years with other customers that jump on the train as we head down through Orange County. Everybody piles on, and then we party in San Diego, all on Motivs. Well, my wife sometimes has chosen some other brands, but most of the customers that are partying with us are riding Motivs. We've got a little group of us that really love the Motivs.
That is cool. That's very neat to hear the history. I mean, maybe it's time to hop on this thing and take a little ride.
I mean, you've got to get one through a dealer, and they're going to prep it for you, and it's always comes governed to 25 kilometers an hour. Okay. And you have to like go through the display here and hold down the top and bottom buttons. I think I've ungoverned it up to 40 kilometers an hour.
Okay.
And with the 48 volt setup, I mean, your cadence at 25 miles an hour is what this thing will top out. I mean, you're spinning really quick. So one of the most popular upgrades we do is to take the chain guard completely off. The first one I ever sold actually was a guy in Newport Beach. And he's like, I love it, man, but I just, you know, I'm spinning myself out trying to get into work. He was actually a doctor, actually. And we put a big 58 tooth sprocket on it, and it was a much more relaxed cadence for him, and he was digging on that a lot better.
Yeah.
So you can do those aftermarket accessories, but a lot of people will get on this bike and they'll get it up to 20, and you can pedal along at about 20. If you're going over 20, you just end up pedaling and you're riding it like a motorcycle kind of, you know, with the twist throttle. So it's up to you.
It is a good feel that way. And, you know, originally it only had throttle. So now it's kind of neat that they've opened it up a little bit. Let's go through this. So right now he pressed the up and down at the same time. We're in the clock setting, so I'm just gonna skip through 40 kilometers per hour. That's higher than normal. How fast is that in miles per hour?
Well, you know, it
like
depends on, yeah, so I mean, let's find out right now. Well, after you go through, we'll see what it like spin up to as far as
I'm in kilometers per hour a minute ago, but I just changed to miles per hour.
Awesome.
Okay, 26 inches. That's talking about the wheel size down there. And then 700C, no, I didn't mean to do that. I accidentally arrowed up. So 26, got it. And then the brightness, so you can change the backlight brightness. And then you can also take it from 5 to 3. So some people only want simplicity, low, medium, high. Other people, these finer increments, it gives you more control over how fast and how much power you get. So that's it. What do I hold up and down again?
Just the middle button.
Oh, okay.
Hold down your middle button. Let's see how fast this thing will do. So unlike a lot of bikes, they're governed to 20 miles an hour on the throttle. I don't believe this one is. Let's find out. So let's just lean it on the kickstand and let's rev it up and look at the speedo here and let's see how fast we get going here without any weight on it, Court. So 27 and a half miles an hour with no weight on it.
Right.
But if I was to sit on this and I get it going with my weight, that's going to hold the bike back down on level ground with proper tire pressure. I'm going to probably top out somewhere around 24 to 25 miles an hour.
Yeah.
You put my wife on it, who weighs 100 pounds, she's doing 28 miles an hour on this thing. You know, she flies on it.
Sure, and as with most electric bikes, you can always coast down a hill faster than 28 or whatever. It's all kind of up to you. But as you go higher, you're gonna wind resistance, the efficiency is gonna drop a little bit. So that's something to keep in mind. You know, now we have a digital readout, but it's still just a 4-bar battery indicator. You know, it's not like a digital percentage or something. It's a little bit more. Before they had like a little window thing and it was just the throttle and it was red, green, and yellow.
Yeah, that's right.
So this is a great upgrade, and I like how small it is and the wires reach. I'm gonna go ahead and hop on this thing. And thank you.
Notice the handling, Court, when you're over 20 miles an hour too. This is one of the cruisers you can actually rail on around corners at speed, and you feel confident while riding it because it's a well-designed bike.
Yeah, it doesn't have that like speed wobble sometimes you feel. Okay, hopping on this thing. I'm gonna leave it in pedal assist 0 starting and just do the throttle. Okay, nice and easy, yeah. So I've kind of got full control. I don't have to go fast if I don't want to. And then when I really unleash it, it's zippy. Oh boy. We do have some potholes here. I'm doing the no hands thing pretty comfortably. Feeling good. And then those disc brakes, one-handed braking is working out just fine. Now I'm gonna arrow up to pedal assist level 5. You might notice the delay. That's what I was talking about before. I don't know how precise their cadence sensor is, but there's a little bit of lag when you stop pedaling, and that's where those motor inhibitors really come in handy. Again, a lot of potholes here, but it's relatively quiet. Maybe do a side-by-side ride here in a second. There he is. Hey, buddy. Do you want to swap me? Get the third-person perspective.
On a smooth road. This is a terrible road here in Fullerton.
It's a good test road. It puts that seat post suspension to use, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There we go.
All right, keep up if you can, Court.
Oh yeah. Be careful, buddy. He's got his chopper helmet on. Yeah, you do notice. You know, this one starts a little bit smoother. This is a 36 volt, sleek. No, I can't keep up. Come on, cadence sensor. Listen. I'm in level 5. It hasn't caught. There we go. Because I'm in the highest gear, so my cadence was really slow. So I'm gonna shift down. Great. Wait up, Sam. Check it out. Dedicated bike lane here. Let me get next to you because I'm gonna fall behind real quick.
Check out the sign up here, Court, here in the neighborhood.
Oh yeah, there it is. May use full lane. Appreciate that. Looking good, buddy. Nice and up. We're gonna turn right down this street or straight?
Go straight.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna get on your right side.
You got it.
There we go. I like the Motiv on the saddle.
I'm just cruising on level 2 assist now, and I'll bump it up 1 or 2 levels here. And I'm in high gear. See my cadence on level 4.
Yeah, see his cadence pick up a little bit. This is max speed for me. Cool, buddy. Let's go ahead and pull over when you find a spot. Nice. Woo, well, you were right, man. I had trouble keeping up.
Yeah.
That was fun. I think you were saying a minute ago that you were keeping it on level 3, just cruising down the street. Some guy was like, GoPro, because I saw us filming.
You know, when I'm on the 48 volt and Kanika is on the 36, we match up pretty well as far as speed goes because of our weight differences.
Oh.
Her at 100 pounds and me at 260. Me on a 48, her on a 36. We're pretty equal as far as power.
Pretty equal? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, sweet. That is the Motiv Spark. Again, I'm riding the Sleek. Reviewed this separately. For the full write-up on this, including like frame dimensions and just some more of those details, I'll see you back at ElectricBikeReview.com. Definitely want to thank you again, Sam, Electric Bicycle Center here in Fullerton. These guys let me test ride the bikes, and we always have a good time. And just California. Look, it's so wonderful and sunny and everything right now.
You gonna stay, Court?
I don't know, man. This is a fun place to come because I can actually review, and it's like snowy back in Colorado where my family is in Texas.
Man.
Yeah,
It's beautiful.
High five, buddy.
Yes.
Ride safe.
All right, later.